This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it, and I know it, that it's Whip 'em Out Wednesdays. Okay, no, maybe I'm starting off too early there. Yes, anyway, today is Wednesday, January the 18th of 2023, day numero 18 of the year, and only 347 days left to go. Yeah, if it is the 18th day of the month, it would sound about accurate for there only to be 18 days left to go as we do go through the multiverse of things that we are doing. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across, well, those other people that we hang out with. Take a listen to what we do.
If you ever wished that Facebook had a suck it button, you suck! This rock block is for you. Radio.
Yeah, there you go. Hanging out with our friends at Radio Big, telling you to suck it, apparently. So there you go. So a lot of stuff going on in the last 23 hours as we do the things that we get to do. Listen, all kinds of fun times yesterday. I got to hang out and do office work. You know, it was straight hours and hours of office work, which I haven't done in a long time, at least not for that kind of sequence of event. If I told you I had 5 meetings yesterday, I would be lying because I had 6. And yes, it was kind of a crazy day yesterday, but hey, always some fun hanging out with the peeps, doing all the fun stuff that is going on out there. So let me talk about this real quick. We are a show that talks about safety in the news and safety. So we give you a little bit of news. We give you a little bit of safety. We kind of blend them all together. That way you have topical applications to talk about as you're able to move forward in your day when you're talking to the peeps out there inside of the world. That's the whole purpose of the show. At least you have topical information, and then we get to go from there. So, good stuff. Anyway, so let me tell you, if you want to interact with the show, it's an easy way to do so by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com, being able to do so. And also, before I forget, 700th episode coming up on Friday. Yeah, 700th episode. So if I don't screw this up today or tomorrow, number 700 on Friday day. So there you go, some things going on. I was taking a look around. Outside of me, there's been 3 other people that have hosted this thing. Yeah, hosted this thing outside of there. So I don't count in the fashion those episodes. If we do count those, I think it would be somewhere close to like 712 or something astronomical like that. So there you go, just for the sheer numbers of it. Anyways, that being said, if you want to watch the visual side of it, you can do that by going to safetyfm.com, radiobig.fm, and clicking on the section that says Visual Radio. Visual Radio. That will get you moving and grooving and all that kind of fun stuff. To get that going on that side of the section, that side of the board, as everything is happening right there. Anyways, there you go. Let's talk real quick about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. Author Colleen Hoover is holding us strong at the top of the New York Times bestsellers list. We'll talk about that a little bit more inside of the charts. The FBI is shrugging off for Joe Biden's illegal possession of classified documents while Republican House stares down the Democratic Senate and executives. We can talk a little bit more about that in a bit. A memorial has been planned for the late Lisa Marie Presley, and Madonna announces a world tour. Those are things that were trending in the overnight. And director James Cameron says that the great Titanic debate of whether or not Jack Whiteham could have fitted the door besides Rose may soon be settled once and for all. So I guess that those are some big things for some people out there. I'm talking about the Titanic thing. So there you go. Some things going on right there for sure. So in looking and going on in what was happening, yesterday we had a pretty big release on the Jay Allen show, and this was what the release was. Yes, we did release the latest Jay Allen show on Safety FM, and it was an update about OSHA. So if you have not taken a listen to this and you do biz in the U.S., this might be something that you might want to take a listen to. All you have to do is go to your favorite podcatcher and look for the Jay Allen Show, not to be confused with the Jay Allen Morning Show, which is what you're listening to now, which is also known as the Rated R Safety Show for Hour 1. But that is readily available out there with OSHA updates by, Jim Frederick from OSHA directly. So there you go. That will give you some news on what the hell's going on. Just look for that on your favorite podcatcher. That was the episode that was released ayer. That one came out yesterday. So there you go. Hopefully you'll be able to take a listen on to that. Anyways, we do bring in some professional broadcasters. They let you know what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So you don't have to worry about that. They come in because they know what the hell they're doing, as I get to hang out and try to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Let's keep it real. Keep it real. So with that being said, let's get you into some news right now, and we'll get you moving and grooving right away on the Rated R Safety Show.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell is asking the Department of Justice to treat President Biden and former President Trump equally. The call comes as the DOJ is looking into the possession of classified documents at both Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort and at Biden's Washington office and home in Delaware. On Tuesday, McConnell warned federal investigators to apply the same standards to both cases and applauded Attorney General Merrick Garland's decision to make two special counsels to look into the incidents. The White House is staying tight-lipped on the classified documents recently found in an office and residence of President Biden.
I'm just going to continue to be prudent here. I'm going to let that process continue under the special counsel. Press
Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre refused to give any more information on the controversy and referred reporters to the White House counsel's office and the Department of Justice. Jean-Pierre emphasized, however, the administration is fully cooperating with the investigation into Biden's handling of classified material from his time as vice president. The House GOP Steering Committee is recommending controversial New York Congressman George Santos receive 2 committee assignments. Brian Shook explains.
The embattled state rep is facing growing pressure to resign from both Democrats and Republicans over his admitted lies about his education, work history, finances, and heritage. Despite the calls for his resignation, the House recommended Santos sit on the House Small Business Committee and the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee. The decision still needs to be approved by the full House Republican Conference. I'm Brian Shook.
And the man accused of killing 23 people in a mass shooting at an El Paso Walmart in 2019 will not face the death penalty in his federal trial. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Texas says they will not seek to execute Patrick Crusius, who faces charges including 22 counts of hate crime resulting in death. The federal trial is scheduled to begin on January the 8th of next year. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. 18 people have been killed in a helicopter crash near Kiev, including Ukraine's Interior Affairs Minister. Thousands of nurses are on strike again in England over pay. Japan is experiencing a surge in COVID-19 related deaths. And India may have already overtaken China to become the world's most populous nation, according to the latest estimates.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
The Supreme Court has rejected a bid from Missouri challenging a tax cut rule in the American Rescue Plan. Lisa Taylor explains.
The court focused on the tax mandate in the COVID aid package that stops states from using economic relief money to offset tax cuts. Missouri's now former Attorney General argued the law only disallows deliberate use of funds to pay for a tax cut and said the interpretation was above Congress's pay grade. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Natural disasters are displacing millions of Americans. New data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows 3.3 million Americans were displaced by natural disasters in 2022, with 1 million of those solely from Florida. The state was hit by Hurricane Ian in September, which killed over 100 people and cost billions in insured losses. The United Nations is calling natural disaster displacement one of the most devastating impacts of climate change. Moderna says its vaccine against the respiratory virus known as RSV is effective in older adults. Trey Thomas reports.
The biotech company said Tuesday that the vaccine is nearly 84% effective in preventing symptoms in people 60 and older. Moderna plans to file for FDA approval sometime this year. Right now, there's no FDA-approved vaccine for RSV. I'm Trey Thomas.
Southwest Airlines says most customers affected by last month's travel nightmare have received their refunds. According to the company, 90% of passengers on canceled flights have gotten their money back, and the remaining 10% should be refunded in the next few days. Southwest added that all bags with name tags on them have been returned as well. The Dallas-based airline says it's going to spend more than $1 billion on system upgrades to avoid another catastrophe. And Todd and Julie Crisley have started their prison sentences. That's according to multiple reports. Last year, the stars of the reality TV show Crisley Knows Best were convicted on bank fraud and tax evasion charges. Todd is set to serve 12 years, while Julie will serve 7. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
We're rocking all day at work because we don't give a duck. Autocorrect probably just saved my ass there.
Like I give a flying, you know. Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work. Sorry, I'm late. Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi. Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this Whip 'em Out Wednesday. So there you go. Let's start getting into the world of the news right away about what the hell is going on inside of the shit list, because that's what we need to talk about today. Taking it from the very top, jury selection began on Tuesday in the trial over whether a series of tweets by Elon Musk in August of 2018 were intentionally misleading to Tesla investors. Musk mused about taking the EV company private and later noted simply funding secured and added investor support is confirmed. Only reason why this is not certain is the contingency on the shareholders' votes. The question now is how much effect did the tweets had on the investors' sentiment towards the company, since the judge overseeing the case previously ruled that the tweets were untrue and reckless. This is according to Reuters reports. They're also weighing in whether or not Musk intentionally sought to sway investors with the tweets, and if so, award damages. Worth noting, Musk camp says that he had plenty of reasons to believe that there was a financing lined up to take Tesla private. You know, this is the problem. This is the problem nowadays in regards of you can't really say anything because it could lead to a whole bunch of other stuff if you talk about it ahead of time. And did he do the right thing? Did he do the wrong thing? I don't know. That is going to be a jury of his peers to make that equation of what's going on. What's your thought process behind it when you give it a thought-so-otso there? What do you think? Was he trying to scam a system, or was he just laying out he believed what was going to be taking place? Just some stuff to think about as we are talking. Anyways, after a decade of explosive population growth, China for the first time has recorded a decrease in population despite easing the brutal one-child policy in recent years and even supporting family growth. Analysts tell the New York Times the decline is now irreversible. This presents a complicated challenge for the burgeoning superpower, whose cradle-to-grave authoritarian communism policies have to care for populations whose life expectancy continues to increase. And it gets worse. Endless COVID lockdowns grounds China's economy to a halt. It grew only 3% last year, its worst performance in nearly 40 years. What do you think about this when you hear this? Because it makes you start thinking about a lot of other things that has been going on with China for some time. I know. You hear that and sometimes you go, I miss how he said China. Who am I talking about? Oh, did you figure it out yet?
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Archaeologists in Norway have found the oldest runestone to date. It's carving with the inscription of the oldest alphabet known to the Scandinavian peninsula. It estimates it's about 2,000 years old. The carving would sound more of a Heidelberg, no word yet of what that means, though the researchers believe that it could be an identifier for those graves that were found. So maybe that is what you're looking for as you're taking a look around it. Also, the husband of a missing Massachusetts woman has been charged with her murder. Brian Walsh is already in jail for lying to police about the investigation of her disappearance. Her body has still not been found, and it is assumed to be dead after going missing on New Year's Day. But investigators found blood in the basement of their home and a broken knife. Later, they found trash bags covered in blood, a saw, a hatchet at a train station near the home. Walsh arraignment for the murder charges could be as soon as this morning. Listen, I don't know. I mean, because I have a hard time understanding this. Why in the heck would you want to murder someone that is your spouse? That's first thing. I mean, I know that there is, some bad stigma with somebody saying, hey, I got a divorce. It's just how people look at it from time to time, depending on where you're located. But listen, there is no reason to, want to take somebody out when you have that as an option. Just think about it. Listen, if you are guilty, not saying that you are, because you are innocent until proven guilty. If you are guilty, what the hell is going to happen now? Are you going to end up being life in prison? Because that is definitely not worth it. It is not worth it whatsoever as we are talking about this. I mean, you have to give some consideration to some of these things that do take place. I mean, you would want to give some consideration to these things. You don't have to do shit, as what we're talking about it. But just think about this. It is such a weird thing where people turn around and go, okay, it is worth it to me to try to take someone out. And then go, well, that was one of those things to me that at the time it seemed to make sense. I just don't get it. I mean, if something's not working and I want out, maybe there's some other ways to go about doing this. Just the thought process as we are talking about it. Anyway, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. Here's how not to handle a contentious divorce. Drive a dump truck into your soon ex-wife's house. So we're getting stories back to back about couples. A South Los Angeles man was caught on camera ramming a truck into the bedroom and knocking into cars parked on the streets in the process. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. It gets worse. The dump truck was a second salvo. He started by ramming an Impala into the house, then got a truck, and then came back with a car. While the house was significantly damaged and the fence was knocked over, everyone is safe and the house is repairable. The man's estranged wife is staying elsewhere while she adds a restraining order to the mix. That's thanks to ABC 7. I mean, what are you thinking here? I mean, at what point do you say, this sounds like a good idea, I'm going to ram the house with a car or two, and maybe I'm going to win somebody back? I mean, I've never heard of that before, but maybe that's a new technique that people are talking about.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about the charts, about what is going on. Top fiction and nonfiction category currently on the New York Times bestsellers list. So let's go with it going into the fiction category. If if at number 5 with traces, or with a trace, without a trace. I can't read, without a trace. At number 4, lessons in chemistry. At number 3, Verity. At number 2, it ends with us. At number 1, it starts with us. So does it end with us or does it start with us? Sounds like a combination. Okay, going into the nonfiction category at the number 5 spot, the January 6th report, the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attacks in the United States Capitol. At number 4, the body keeps the score. At number 3, the January 6th report, the House January 6th Committee. At number 2, I'm glad my mom died. And at the number 1 spot, according to the nonfiction categories, based on the New York Times bestsellers list, The Light We Carry. So there you go. That's going on at the number uno spotto. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls inside of here. Let him tell you about what the hell's going on inside of the Market Beat.
Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Equity markets seesawed Tuesday as investors and traders brace for what could be a very bad retail sales figure. That figure is due out today and could show the retail sales are down 1% or more compared to last year. This is big news for the market because it means price hikes no longer offset a decline in volume that began in early 2022. In this light, the recession has begun and will most likely get worse before it gets better. The takeaway is that earnings growth is off the table for most S&P 500 companies in the first half of 2023. The question is how bad the decline will be and how the outlook for the second half will unfold. Last year, there was supposed to be an improvement in the second half that never fully materialized and was offset by inflation and interest rates. That situation may unfold again this year and leave the S&P 500 index at or below 3,500 at year-end. You could get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for that information right there. So the Dow lost about 391 points to close at 33,910 on Tuesday. The S&P lost about 8 points to close at 3,990. The NASDAQ added about 15 points to close at 11,095. West Texas Intermediate bounced up to $80. Brent crude to close at $85 a barrel right there. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.32. Bitcoin. Yep, Bitcoin. Its rally adding up $200 on Tuesday and trading just at 21,300. Remember, at one point we were talking about Bitcoin, and they were consistently close to 22,500. So keep that in mind as we are talking about it. And then there were more than 1,643 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Tuesday, with about 286 cancellations. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $439 million jackpot, or a $237.3 million cash payout. So however you want to play the game, I guess you have some aspect to be able to do so. Anyways, let's talk about some other things that are going on as it is 28 minutes past the top of the hours. Crews continue the tedious and smelly task of cleaning up the massive sewage spill in downtown San Diego. Take a listen.
Place condominiums in downtown San Diego. That's less than 1 mile from the San Diego Bay near the USS Midway Museum. Patty Aguayo lives there and told NBC News it is a complete mess.
I know they have to replace a lot of carpets, the hallways. It's a lot of work for the building.
Officials say a power outage caused a city pump station to lose function. It's estimated 500,000 gallons of sewage was released during the outage. I'm Phil Farrar.
Can you believe or imagine waking up to that kind of shit? I mean, there's just no way whatsoever as you are thinking about it. Really bad stuff going on there. Anyways, take a listen to this. A stabbing in San Diego College neighborhood leads to a deadly officer-involved shooting 15 miles away in the area east of the city. Take a listen to this.
San Diego police say this happened late yesterday afternoon. Officers arriving at a pharmacy in a medical building across from Alvarado Hospital. They found a woman suffering from multiple stab wounds. She was not breathing and later died at the hospital. That led San Diego police to the East County, where they found a man just past El Cajon in an unincorporated area. Sheriffs say the man was armed during the confrontation with San Diego police. The man shot and killed by SDPD, both police and the Sheriff's Department investigating. I'm Phil Farrar.
Okay, thank you, Phil, for that information right there of what was going on. Take a listen to this. The latest report of the Colorado State Department of Transportation is showing that in 2022 was the deadliest year for Colorado Springs, according to the CDOT. Communication manager Sam Cole says that the leading cause, well, it was speeding.
Now you're going to see speed limits reduced. But if we could just get people to drive the speed limit, we would save a lot of lives.
Cole insists that drivers are not invincible, as speeding habits will eventually lead to a crash or a ticket from the police. Colorado Springs Police Department reported, 54 crashes with 56 killings last year. On average, that's the most in one deadly crash in the community every week. Speed, along with with people that are impaired and distracted driving, that cause about 50% of the increase in the crashes. The CDOT Safety Community Manager Sam Cole reacts to the department reports 745 deadly crashes in Colorado during 2022.
See the number of people that are dying on our roads. We're looking at 2 people every single day dying on Colorado roads. And that doesn't even take into account the number of serious injuries, people that will be permanently disabled for life.
So a lot of stuff going on there in Colorado as we are talking. Let's take a listen to this one real quick as we are moving through and talking about this. The parents of a 3-year-old girl who was hit and killed by a semi-truck while they were biking last year in Chicago are taking legal action. This lawyer announced that Elizabeth Grace Shamrock's parents filed a lawsuit that they hope will improve bicycle safety in the city.
Justice for Lily and her family. But second, we're also going to be able to increase awareness for the biking community in Chicago.
The child on the back of the bicycle being ridden by her mother in June of the north side when mother tried to squeeze around a ComEd truck illegally parked in the bike lane and was hit by a passing semi. The suit claims the negligence against the truck driver and the truck owners of ComEd and the misconduct by the city of Chicago. So a lot of stuff going on right there. We'll see what happens here over the next little bit. One more for you. Detroit police arrested a 19-year-old Bradley Thurman for the murder of Tracy Golden on December the 28th. Truman was arrested and announced by the police chief, James White, yesterday.
Clear, we are going to relentlessly, unapologetically pursue people who victimize our community, period. You're not going to outwork us. You're not going to outthink us.
The teenager is charged with premeditated first-degree murder and several other counts. Thurman was allegedly confessed of the shooting. John Goldman lost his wife Tracy to the shooting on December the 28th.
I mean, it's going to be hard, but there's no closure. Not to me. No. This is something that we will have to live with for the rest of our life.
Definitely sounds like no closure there whatsoever. I can hear it in his voice. Anyways, 33 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's get into it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So, main story time. And listen, I will tell you, I was very appreciative to all the people that reached out yesterday. I'm talking about AI and VR and augmented reality and, all that kind of fun stuff. And believe me, if we kind of hung out here or hung out together for a long period of time, I could get you into a multiverse that you might be interested in. Just talking about some of those segments in time on how those things work. But maybe we will leave that for another day or maybe another reality. So with that being said, let's talk about what is going on today. So I thought it was pretty interesting. Yesterday, I was able to sit down and hang out with some people as we were going over, well, I shouldn't say some people. I guess I was virtually hanging out with some people. And we were talking about this very interesting thing about an investigation report that they had that had occurred inside of their workplace. But some of the items were, quote unquote, retracted. And just in case if you're not sure, meaning they were blacked out. There were sections of the report that were missing. There were segments of the report that were not on file because they had been deemed confidential. Now, where it gets weird, and I'm going to say that it gets weird, is that the person that had done the investigation was no longer with the company. The people that were in charge of actually having the report were no longer with the company, and they were only able to locate the retracted documents of the report of what had occurred previously. Now, where it gets interesting is that nobody who was still at the company had the original documents. And there was a level of concern, and I don't know how much I'm supposed to say about this, but I guess I shall slow down a little bit. There was a level of concern because it was related to an incident that had toxins in the air. Toxins in the air. So they were concerned on how they were able to, I guess, measure the air quality that was going on compared to something that had occurred previously. And this got me to thinking about all kinds of fun stuff that we get to do. And listen, I'm not trying to spill the beans on what somebody else is doing inside of a group and all that kind of fun stuff. But I looked at it and said, is there any investigation that has occurred at your workplace that the documents had been retracted? And if so, why? And if so, who has access to the non-retracted documents? Because it's not like you're working for the government, or at least most of the people that I would imagine hanging out here are not working for the government. And if you do the retraction and you deem the document, confidential and all this other kind of fun stuff, there has to be a way to be able to get a hold of it if something was to happen later on. So, as you look at this today, have you had an experience in your workplace where something had to be retracted? Or at the same time as well, a confidential, we'll say, quote unquote. It's not like, and when I say this, I guess I should probably make references. It's not like you're going to have an investigation that just anybody inside of the workplace can take a look at it. I get that portion, so let's make sure that we're clear. But when you do the redaction inside of there, how does that work? How does it look? How does it move? How does it groove inside of your workplace? It's a lot of questions. And then what is the backup measures? Because you go into this workplace, these people are no longer there. This file, this report essentially becomes obsolete because nobody really knows anything about it, or at least it's inside of the workplace. And as you know, and as I know, most people are not going to talk about stuff once they're gone from a workplace unless they left with a bad taste in their mouth. Think about it. It's just kind of the way that it works out. So what do you think about this? Or have I just taken the last 5 to 6 minutes of your time and you kind of went into a story that sounds like a fantasy island? But these things do happen. And what do retractions look like and redactions look like inside of your workplace? And is there a file with confidential reports of investigations that have taken place previously? Some things to think about, that's for sure.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, we'll figure it out."
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large Gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
I remember back to the times before we got on with life. That's back when I thought that you were the one, you were the one. We never had our time. I thought that in the end it'd be you and I, but we were never in love. I remember the first time that you were mine, and the timing just wasn't right. I had things to learn on my own before I knew how to be in love. It's not like we didn't try.
Okay, there you go. We are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, this is Never in Love by Pacific. I was never in love with the Pacific? No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, this song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Would like to thank Pacific for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. You want to give it a little download? Like I said, readily available. So it is 44 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's get you back into the mix of things, of what is going on inside of the world, because it sounds like a time to do so. So as I get into this, let's start talking, because listen, a lot of people have asked for this, so I want to discuss it. And this is about our Safety Differently workshop that is taking place on March the 6th through the 9th of 2023 in Santa Fe, New Mexico. If you want to come and hang out, you're more than welcome on doing so. Tickets are available at safetyfm.com. safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io. All you have to do is do a little clicky-icky, and that will get you moving and grooving inside of there. You can take a look at what the hell is going on. The workshop will be held at the Hotel Santa Fe, hosted by Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, Todd Conklin, and yours truly. So feel free coming out, hanging out, and doing some stuff. And I will tell you, I have heard earlier this week, a special guest that's not listed on there, and you might be in for a very good surprise if you do show up for the event, taking a view on who will be there. So there you go, some stuff going on right there. safetyfm.io for more information right there. Anyways, with that being said, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you inside of my lifetime, and that's about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you or loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is text the word TALK to 988. Call 988 or go to 988lifeline.org. Listen, I'm going to tell you, there is, for some weird reason, a stigma to this conversation by most people, and the only way that we're going to change this is by talking about it all the time. And I'm going to tell you this. People struggle. We all struggle at some way, shape, or form in our lifetime, and it is okay to need people. Yes, it is okay to need people to talk to. It is okay to show up to your life and be there, and you deserve to love you. Yes, I know sometimes things do not seem like they're going to be easy, but listen, there are people out there to be able to help you. Keep that in mind as we are talking. 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. Text the word TALK to 988 or call 988. So just so you know, because it's all important for us to talk about that. It's not ever one of those subjects that I don't want us to cover, because to me it is so important to talk about. So there you go. Anyways, let's get into some stuff, because, you know, it is Whip 'em Out Wednesday, or WOW, however you want to take a look at it, and we are still hanging and banging. Listen, on hour number 2 and hour number 3, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm if you want to come and hang out. We will be doing hour 2 and 3 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. It does focus a lot on music, and we do talk about entertainment news, just so you know. That can be found at RadioBig.fm, or you can hang out on TuneIn Radio. You can find us on iTunes as well by just saying Radio Big, and make sure that you don't get the Biggie Smalls thing. Or you can find us on iHeartRadio as we are streaming live. Yes, just in case. So let's talk about some bad names. Imagine this. If your last name was Zoolander, you probably don't want to hear this, but scientists are looking into the theory that your last name could play a role on how well you perform in school and your overall success in life. According to a study from the University of Colorado Boulder, people whose last initial is among the beginning letters of the alphabet are more likely to see greater achievements, especially in school. You know what's coming? Conversely, is those who have waited for that longest to raise their hands during the roll call and less likely to, to do well in school and on the job. Why? Well, according to the co-author of the study, if your name is at the end of the alphabet, you're less likely to be identified by the teacher, as it means a student whose last name is Morris was about 10% less likely to be viewed in more positive light in the teacher than a classmate whose last name is Brown. Fortunately, the effect called alphabetism seems to affect people who mostly in their younger years, including early adulthood, and it fizzles out later in life, but still waiting. Also, it isn't particularly good for the academic career if your teacher refers to you as, what's his name? What's his name? You know, I have to say, I've always looked forward to, I guess, being called within the first few because of my last name. And I guess that mentality went into place when we named our youngest child, because I gave her all names that started with the letter A. Seriously, that's not a joke as I say that. Wanted to call her AAA, but just didn't work out that way. And no affiliation whatsoever with the car company. Please, God forbid.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so taking a look at what is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, I'm going to do something. Don't hold it against me. Here's a political minute.
Being tight-lipped on the classified documents that were recently found in an office and residence of President Biden.
I'm just going to continue to be prudent here. I'm going to let that process continue under the special counsel.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre refused to give any more information on the controversy and referred reporters to the White House counsel's office and the Department of Justice. Jean-Pierre emphasized, however, the administration is fully cooperating with the investigation into Biden's handling of classified material from his time as vice president. A special counsel is looking into whether any laws were broken. And former President Trump is talking about the possibility that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis could enter the 2024 presidential race. While speaking on a podcast, Trump was asked if it would be a bad move for DeSantis to run for the White House. Trump responded by saying, "He'll handle it the way I handle things if DeSantis decides to run against him." DeSantis has yet to officially announce a White House bid, but it's been widely speculated he could enter the GOP primary. Some polls have DeSantis beating Trump. That's politics. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you very much for that one and exactly what is going on inside of that world. Will be interesting to see what the hell happens here coming up because it's going to be some interesting times, to say the least. Anyways, the Baltimore man accused of murdering a 69-year-old church volunteer has pleaded guilty and will spend the rest of his life in prison. On Tuesday, 63-year-old Manzine Smith Jr. was sentenced to life with all but 50 years suspended for killing Evelyn Blair inside of an East Baltimore Southern Baptist church in November of 2021. Pastor Dante Hickman says the murder took place in the community.
That's a void that we will definitely feel for the days and months and years to come.
City State Attorney Evan Bates says that the case was deeply traumatic for everyone, especially the family of Evelyn Blair, who was a matriarch for the neighborhood who can never be replaced. Bates says that the plea allows the family to receive closure in the process of grief. He says that the lengthy sentence will ensure that dangerous individuals never return to the street and to the city again. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what is going on there. Anyways, a family is grieving after a teen reported missing in the New Year's Day was found dead along Highway 4 in Concord 6 days later. Investigators told that the family of the 19-year-old Damon Lansbury Jr. that they believe that it was a hit and run that killed the person. But Damon's father, Damon Lansbury Sr., tells NBC Bay Area that the facts are not adding up.
Why would he get hit by a car and not be next on the side of the road or anything like that? And his body wasn't there a certain time, and then the body appears.
The family said that they did several searches, and even in the area where the teen was found, and they say that the body was not there. California Highway Patrol officials say that they were looking for the car that they believe was hit by Lansbury Jr., which is a dark-colored sedan with damage in the front right side. Damon Lansbury Sr. tells the Bay Area that he wants closure after the loss.
Everything. It's my son. It's my world. My best friend. Now he's no longer here. That hurts to the bone.
You know, when you get into stories like that, it's almost impossible to even know what to say after that. That is for sure. As we are talking and taking a look at what is going on inside of there. Anyways, take a listen to this one real quick. Moderna says that its vaccine against a respiratory virus known as RSV is effective in older adults. Take a listen to what Trey Thomas has to say.
The biotech company said Tuesday that the vaccine is nearly 84% effective in preventing symptoms in people 60 and older. Moderna plans to file for FDA approval sometime this year. Right now, there's no FDA-approved vaccine for RSV. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey, for that one right there. Anyways, with that being said, it is 54 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's get you into the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Justine. Abraham Lincoln said, "Next to creating a life, the finest thing a man can do is save one." Very nice quote. I don't know if I have ever saved anyone's life. I'm a radio clown and a stand-up comic. Not exactly the field you think of when it comes to life-saving skills. I've tried to cheer people up when they're sad or depressed, and who knows if that's ever helped. But I do know several first responders who save lives every single day. These men and women are the real-life superheroes. But instead of donning a cape or a mask, they wear a uniform, and it's probably not considered as cool, but it's real. If you get a chance to, I'd like to encourage you to thank them for their service. They could even save your life. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. There is more evidence that suggests that aerobic exercise improves brain aging. People with higher cardiorespiratory fitness, a marker of physical fitness, have a higher total brain volume, gray matter volume, and higher clusters of gray matter associated with cognition. Physical activity and fitness are associated with improved brain blood vessel function. Neurotrophins, such as brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, are elevated after increased physical activity. BDNF may also play a major role in neuroplastic effects, neuromodulation, and recovery, which might lead to improved brain health and slower cognitive decline. In addition to routine physical activity, about 150 minutes per week, good cardiorespiratory fitness also involves not smoking, following healthy eating habits, maintaining a healthy weight, as well as avoiding high blood pressure. For additional information on wellness, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Okay, there you go. 56 minutes past the top of the hour. We are going over to RadioBig.fm at the top. So if you want to come over, hang out, and do the things that we get to do over there, we would love to see you there. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. Anyways, let's take a look at this. Back in 1993, Martin Luther King Jr. holiday is observed for the first time in all 50 states. That occurred back in 1993. Taking a look at some birthdays that are going on today. Let's talk about them. Just some, not all. Montana Tucker turns 30. Becca Tobin, 37. Jason Segel turns 43. Jonathan Davis, lead singer to Korn, turns 52. Dave Bautista turns 54, and Kevin Costner, he turns 68 today. So there you go. If you are looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. It's National Gourmet Coffee Day, National Michigan Day, National Winnie the Pooh Day, National Thesaurus Day, and Museum Selfie Day. I didn't even know that there was a whole museum dedicated just to that, but I guess there is. Something to think about for sure as we are talking. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, try this. The ability to speak several languages is an asset, but the ability to keep your mouth shut in any language, well, that's priceless. Think about that. What else? If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is a non-negotiable rule in your home? Seriously, a lot of people have some of these. So what is the non-negotiable that occurs inside of your household? Come on, you got one. You got one or two, maybe three. Possibly 4. Who knows? Non-negotiables that happen. And then if you need something for the water cooler, try this. The average family uses only about 8% of these. What are they? They're TV channels. Yeah, TV channels is the answer to that. Think about it. You have your favorites. You know that if you do watch normal TV that's not on demand, there are only certain channels that you go to. And it really is just the way that it rolls out, just kind of the way that it goes. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what the hell we have going on today, because, it's always important where we get to hang out on Whip 'em Out Wednesdays or Wacky Wednesdays or, Hump Day, depending on how you want to take a look at it. So thanks for hanging out and being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, because we couldn't do what we do around here without you, the most important part, and that is the listener. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. You just can't beat someone who never gives up. Think about that. Think about that today, because I think it's going to be really important. As you go throughout your day, don't quit. Just keep on moving. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. See you at the top of the hour on RadioBig.fm if you want to come and hang out.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.